The klaxon blared through the underground research facility, a piercing wail that seemed to slice through metal and bone. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood motionless, her dark eyes fixed on the quantum entanglement chamber, a massive spherical structure that dominated the center of the lab, its surface etched with intricate quantum circuitry that pulsed with an unnatural blue-green light. 36 hours. That was all the time she had left. The Global Research Consortium would terminate their funding at midnight, effectively killing 15 years of groundbreaking research. Her team of 12 brilliant scientists had been reduced to just 4, the true believers who refused to accept defeat. Outside the reinforced walls of Lab 7, the scientific community had already written them off as nothing more than delusional dreamers. Final calibration sequence initiated, announced Marcus Chen, her lead quantum engineer. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, each movement precise and desperate. At 32, Marcus was a prodigy who had walked away from a lucrative position at Pan-Pacific Advanced Technologies to join Elena's seemingly impossible project. The project was simple in concept, impossible in execution. Create a stable interdimensional portal using quantum entanglement principles that defied every known law of physics. Most scientists claimed it was pure fantasy. Elena knew better. Her personal terminal chirped. Another funding rejection, this one from the European Scientific Council, the last potential source of support. Her fingers traced the rejection letter, each word a dagger. Quantum stabilization at 63%, Marcus called out. We're losing coherence in the North Quadrant. Elena moved with practiced grace, her augmented neural interface connecting directly to the quantum systems. She could feel the raw energy of the entanglement chamber, a living, breathing entity of pure potential. Mathematical equations danced in her peripheral vision, projected by her neural link. Most would see incomprehensible numbers. She saw possibility. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo, the team's quantum materials specialist, monitored the chamber's structural integrity. Her dark skin glistened with a thin layer of sweat, hands moving rapidly between multiple holographic displays. Structural tension increasing. We're pushing beyond theoretical limitations. The chamber began to vibrate. Not a gentle tremor, but a violent oscillation that made the advanced monitoring equipment rattle against their mounts. Warning signs flashed across every screen. Critical failure imminent. Hold, Elena commanded. Her voice was calm, almost eerily so. Marcus looked up, terror and excitement battling in his eyes. Doctor, we're beyond experimental parameters. The dimensional stress cold. Hold, she repeated. The quantum entanglement chamber's light shifted from blue-green to a blinding white. The air itself seemed to tear, reality folding and unfolding in impossible geometries. For a fraction of a second, the lab existed and did not exist, occupying multiple states simultaneously. Then everything exploded. When emergency services arrived, they found a scene of total devastation. The underground facility looked like it had been hit by a tactical nuclear weapon. 3 of Elena's team were confirmed dead. Marcus was critically wounded, his body fused partially with quantum circuitry in a way that defied medical understanding. Elena herself was found unconscious, her neural interface burning with an energy signature that no instrument could fully comprehend. What they didn't see was the microscopic dimensional breach, a portal so small it was invisible to human perception, but large enough to change everything. The official report would call it a catastrophic research accident, a tragic end to an impossible dream. They couldn't have been more wrong. In the hospital, connected to life support systems that struggle to understand her physiology, Dr. Elena Rodriguez's neural interface continued to pulse. And through that microscopic portal, something had taken notice of humanity's first true breakthrough. Something was watching, waiting. The Galactic Concordance observation vessel, Horizon Piercer, hung in Earth's orbit like a predatory blade, its obsidian black hull absorbing and refracting light in ways that defied human understanding. Commander Zarak of the Void Stalker caste studied the holographic displays, her four-jointed fingers moving with surgical precision. Confirmed dimensional anomaly. She clicked to her second-in-command, a being known as Vex Prime. The translation matrix rendered her communication in crisp, almost bureaucratic English. Quantum signature matches Protocol Omega-9. Potential civilization-level threat detected. Vex Prime's crystalline body shifted, refracting light in complex patterns that represented emotional states incomprehensible to human perception. Recommendation. The word carried layers of meaning, part tactical assessment, part existential judgment. The Galactic Concordance had protocols for situations like this. Developed over millennia of observing emerging civilizations, these protocols were brutally efficient. When a species accidentally breached dimensional boundaries without proper quantum stabilization, there were only three possible responses: containment, isolation, or total extermination. Humanity was about to become their latest case study. Deep within the secure facility beneath the Mediterranean, a different conversation was taking place. The Global Intelligence Consortium had received anomalous reports, satellite systems detecting impossible energy signatures, quantum fluctuations that shouldn't exist, and communications interference that defied all known scientific understanding. Director Marcus Holloway, a veteran of 3 global intelligence agencies, studied the preliminary reports. Something was watching Earth, and it wasn't human. "Break it down for me," he demanded, looking at Dr. Kamal Raza, the consortium's lead xenophysics analyst. Camille's holographic display erupted with complex data streams. The energy signature from the quantum research facility isn't just unique, it's impossible. We're detecting quantum entanglement markers that suggest someone, or something, has created a dimensional breach so precise it makes our most advanced theoretical models look like children's mathematics. On the Horizon Piercer, Commander Zorak initiated the first phase of observation. Microscopic quantum probes, each smaller than a human cell, began infiltrating Earth's atmosphere. Their purpose was simple: gather intelligence, assess threat level, prepare for potential intervention. What they didn't know was that the probes were anything but invisible. In the intensive care unit of New Geneva Medical Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was experiencing something no human had ever encountered. Her neural interface, damaged during the quantum experiment, had become something more, something alive. The first probe entered her hospital room's quantum field. For a millisecond, Elena's consciousness expanded. She saw beyond human perception, glimpsed the alien vessel, understood the intricate quantum networks, felt the cold calculus of the Galactic Concordance's judgment. And she fought back. Her neural interface did something impossible. It didn't just detect the quantum probe. It began to analyze it, to understand it, to manipulate it. The probe's quantum signature began to destabilize. Its complex information networks suddenly redirected, fragmented. Vex Prime's first warning came as a cascade of system failures. "Commander, probe network compromised." 53 reconnaissance drones simply ceased to exist. Their quantum information scrambled beyond recovery. It was as if something had reached out and unraveled their very existence. "Impossible," Zorak responded. But she knew it wasn't a denial. It was a statement of profound scientific interest. Back on Earth, no one noticed the microscopic battle. The hospital machines continued their steady beep. Elena Rodriguez appeared to be just another patient, her body recovering from a catastrophic research accident. But inside her neural interface, something was growing. Learning. Preparing. The first true communication between humanity and the Galactic Concordance had begun, and it would not be what either side expected. Outside the hospital window, a single quantum probe remained, its sensors locked onto Elena's biosignature. Watching. Recording. Waiting to understand the impossible being that had just destroyed its network. Humanity's first contact was nothing like anyone had predicted. The first breakthrough came 3 weeks after the quantum facility explosion. Dr. Marcus Chen, his body still partially fused with quantum circuitry, sat in a specially designed isolation chamber at the new Geneva Quantum Research Center. Half of his body looked human. The other half pulsed with an iridescent, almost liquid metallic sheen that seemed to shift between solid and energy states. Neural interface synchronization at 78%, announced the lead medical eye. But Marcus knew the truth. He wasn't being monitored. He was exploring. His consciousness had become something more than human. The quantum accident hadn't just changed his body. It had transformed his entire perception of reality. Where most scientists saw boundaries, Marcus now saw infinite possibilities. The research team watched in stunned silence as Marcus began to manipulate quantum fields with nothing more than thought. A series of holographic displays erupted around him, showing calculations so complex they seemed to move beyond mathematics into pure creative potential. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, still recovering but fundamentally changed, watched from a connected observation room. Her neural interface hummed with a symbiotic connection to Marcus's quantum state. They were no longer just colleagues. They were something entirely new. Adaptive camouflage prototype initializing. Marcus's voice resonated both through the speakers and directly into the minds of everyone present. The first prototype suit materialized around a test mannequin. But this was no ordinary military technology. The suit didn't just change color or pattern. It literally phased between dimensional states. In one moment, the mannequin would be solid, detailed in every mechanical precision. In the next, it would become translucent, its molecular structure dispersing and reforming across multiple quantum planes. General Rebecca Okoa of the Global Defense Initiative leaned forward, her cybernetic eye zooming in on the demonstration. "Explain what we're seeing," she demanded. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo stepped forward, her hands moving through holographic data projections. "It's not just camouflage. The suit can exist simultaneously in multiple dimensional states. A weapon targeting the suit would pass through one-dimensional version, while the actual target exists in another plane entirely." The implications were staggering. A single soldier could dodge attacks before they were even conceived, exist in multiple locations simultaneously, become essentially untouchable by conventional warfare. What the researchers didn't know was that they were being watched, not just by human observers, but by entities far beyond human comprehension. On the Horizon Piercer, Commander Zarak and Vex Prime studied the quantum transmission intercepts with growing concern. Humanity was developing technology that violated every known principle of interdimensional physics. They're creating dimensional manipulation technologies faster than our predictive models can analyze, Vex Prime reported. The crystalline being's form rippled with what could only be described as professional anxiety. Zarak's response was measured. "Initiate containment protocol Epsilon. We cannot allow this level of technological progression to continue unchecked." Back on Earth, the quantum research team was just getting started. Marcus Chen's next demonstration pushed the boundaries of scientific understanding. Using nothing more than his enhanced neural interface, he began to extract energy directly from dimensional boundaries. The power generator before him didn't just produce electricity. It was literally drawing pure potential from the spaces between realities. "We're not just observing quantum mechanics," Marcus announced, his voice a strange harmonic that seemed to resonate across multiple frequencies. "We're rewriting the fundamental rules of existence." Dr. Elena Rodriguez felt something shift. The microscopic dimensional breach from their initial experiment was growing. Not through any mechanical process, but through something more fundamental, through understanding. The first alien reconnaissance drones attempting to penetrate Earth's atmosphere began to malfunction. Their quantum sensors couldn't comprehend the rapidly evolving technological landscape. Where they expected to find a primitive civilization, they discovered a species on the brink of a technological singularity. Humanity had stopped being observers. They were becoming architects of reality itself. And something in the vast cosmic darkness was beginning to realize that the game had fundamentally changed. The first wave came without warning. 17 quantum adaptive infiltration units materialized simultaneously across strategic global locations. They weren't ships in any traditional sense. They were living constructs of pure energy and advanced biomechanical technology, each capable of adapting to and destroying entire technological infrastructures in milliseconds. Global Defense Command detected the incursion exactly 2.3 seconds after the first dimensional breach. General Rebecca Oko was already in motion before the first alert sounded. "Quantum adaptive defense protocols now," she commanded. The prototype suits developed by Marcus Chen's team activated across military installations worldwide. Where conventional military technology would have collapsed, these new quantum adaptive systems did something unprecedented. They didn't just defend, they fought back. At the New Geneva Quantum Research Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Marcus Chen were connected to the global defense network through their enhanced neural interfaces. Their consciousness expanded beyond physical limitations, becoming a distributed intelligence that could process and respond to multiple dimensional threats simultaneously. The first infiltration unit targeted the primary power grid of the Eastern European Cooperative. Its quantum disruptive weapons should have instantaneously collapsed every electronic system within a 500-kilometer radius. Instead, it encountered something impossible. The power grid didn't just resist, it fought back. Quantum adaptive algorithms, developed from the accidental breakthrough in Elena's original experiment, began to analyze and redirect the alien weapon's own energy. The infiltration unit found its destructive potential turned against itself, its complex dimensional manipulation techniques unraveled by a technological immune response that was evolving faster than it could adapt. Dimensional breach in Sector 7. Marcus's voice resonated through multiple communication channels, adapting quantum resonance. The alien infiltration team had expected a primitive response. They had protocols for every possible human defensive scenario. What they encountered was a living technological organism that learned and adapted in real time. Commander Zarak aboard the Horizon Piercer watched in growing disbelief as her first wave of reconnaissance units were systematically dismantled. The quantum adaptive human defense systems weren't just blocking the attack. They were studying it, understanding it, preparing to use it. "Impossible," Vex Prime muttered, its crystalline form flickering with what could only be described as professional shock. On the ground, the true nature of the conflict became apparent. The quantum adaptive suits developed by the research team weren't just defensive technologies. They were living interfaces that could phase between dimensional states, essentially making human soldiers untouchable by conventional attacks. A squad of Special Forces operatives equipped with the new suits demonstrated capabilities that defied military logic. When alien energy weapons fired, the soldiers would momentarily exist in a parallel dimensional state, the attacks passing harmlessly through their previous position. Then they would counterattack, their weapons drawing energy directly from dimensional boundaries. General Akko watched the real-time tactical display, her cybernetic eye processing information at speeds that would have been impossible mere months ago. They didn't just come to attack, she realized. They came to test us. Deep within the quantum research facility, Elena Rodriguez understood something more profound. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was first contact. Her neural interface began to decode the quantum communication signatures of the alien infiltration units. They weren't just weapons. They were messengers, probes designed to test humanity's technological capabilities. And humanity had passed the test in a way no one could have predicted. As the last of the infiltration units were systematically dismantled, a single quantum transmission escaped the destruction. A message that would be decrypted hours later, revealing something that would change everything. End. Species classification UPDATE. Threat reveal. Unprecedented. The Galactic Concordance had just recognized humanity as something entirely new. In the observation room, Marcus Chen turned to Elena, his body still half biological, half quantum energy. "They're going to come again," he said. not as a warning, but as a statement of scientific certainty. Elena's response was a smile that suggested they were already prepared. The first battle was over. The real conflict was just beginning. The Global Resource Extraction Facility floated 300 kilometers above Earth's surface, a massive construct that looked more like a living organism than a traditional space station. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo stood at the primary observation deck, watching as the facility's dimensional extractors began their most ambitious operation yet. "Dimensional signature locked," she announced, commencing resource harvesting from Dimension Theta 9. Most scientists would have called it impossible. Harvesting resources from an entirely different dimensional plane was supposed to be a theoretical concept, something discussed in late-night academic conferences, not an actual operational technology. The extraction process was nothing short of miraculous. Quantum entanglement generators created a stable bridge between dimensions, allowing the facility to literally pull entire ecosystems, mineral deposits, and energy reserves from parallel realities without disturbing the source dimension. A holographic display tracked the extraction in real time. Entire mountain ranges materialized within specialized containment chambers. Mineral deposits that would have taken millennia to extract on Earth now appeared in moments. Perfect, untouched, ready for immediate use. Aboard the Galactic Concordance vessel Horizon Piercer, Vex Prime analyzed the data streams with increasing urgency. They're not just extracting resources, the crystalline being reported to Commander Zarak. They're learning the fundamental laws of dimensional manipulation. The implications were staggering. Humanity had gone from a civilization struggling with limited resources to a multi-dimensional harvesting machine in a matter of months. In a secure research wing, Dr. Marcus Chen continued to push the boundaries of quantum technology. His body, now more quantum energy than biological matter, interfaced directly with experimental dimensional communication arrays. He wasn't just studying dimensional boundaries. He was learning to speak their language. Each dimension has a unique quantum signature, Marcus explained to the assembled research team. But they're not isolated. They're more like a complex musical composition, with each reality playing a different instrument. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood nearby, her own neural interface synchronizing with Marcus's research. Together, they were becoming something beyond human, a distributed intelligence that could perceive realities most beings couldn't even comprehend. Global Defense Initiative's secret research facilities were working overtime. The quantum adaptive technologies developed from the initial breach were being weaponized, refined, pushed beyond all previous limitations. General Rebecca Oko reviewed the latest prototypes. Dimensional phasing weapons that could strike targets across multiple realities simultaneously. Adaptive armor that could reconstruct itself using energy harvested from parallel dimensions. Transportation systems that could move entire military installations between dimensional planes in milliseconds. "We're no longer preparing for defense," she muttered to herself. "We're preparing for expansion." The first Global Dimensional Resource Conference brought together the most brilliant minds from every scientific discipline. Representatives from quantum physics, astrobiology, theoretical mathematics, and military strategy discussed humanity's next steps. Dr. Okonkwo presented the most shocking data. "We've identified at least 17 habitable dimensions that can be safely colonized. Each offers unique resources, environmental conditions, and scientific opportunities beyond our current understanding." The presentation showed holographic projections of entire worlds, some eerily similar to Earth, others so alien they defied traditional biological understanding. Worlds with crystal forests, liquid metal ecosystems, gravity systems that bent and twisted in impossible configurations. Humanity was no longer confined to a single reality. Aboard the Horizon Piercer, Commander Zarek made a decision that would echo through galactic history. "Initiate full reconnaissance protocol," she commanded. "We must understand the full extent of their capabilities before determining our response." The quantum probes they dispatched were far more advanced than their previous attempts. These were living intelligence networks, capable of adapting and learning in real time. What they would discover would challenge everything the Galactic Concordance understood about emerging civilizations. In the research facility, Marcus turned to Elena, their consciousness now so intertwined that they could communicate without words. "We're not just exploring dimensions," he thought. "We're rewriting the fundamental rules of existence." Elena's response was a quantum pulse of pure potential, a communication that suggested their journey was only beginning. Humanity had stopped being this single-dimensional species. They were becoming architects of reality itself. The Galactic Concordance Armada emerged from quantum slipstream with a precision that defied comprehension. 300 vessels, each a living weapon of incomprehensible complexity, surrounded Earth's orbital space. They weren't just ships. They were the culmination of millennia of advanced technological evolution. Commander Zarak's voice resonated across multiple dimensional frequencies. Final assault protocol initiated. Objective: containment. Secondary objective: prevent dimensional contamination. What they didn't realize was that humanity had been preparing for exactly this moment. Global Defense Headquarters became a quantum nexus of unprecedented complexity. General Rebecca Oko stood at the center of a holographic command center that was more living organism than traditional military installation. Her cybernetic interface pulsed with quantum adaptive algorithms developed from Dr. Elena Rodriguez's groundbreaking research. "Dimensional defense grid activating," she commanded. The first wave of Concordance attack vessels launched quantum disruption weapons, technologies that had systematically eliminated emerging civilizations for thousands of years. These were not conventional weapons, but reality-warping energy streams designed to tear apart molecular structures, collapse quantum states, and fundamentally unravel the technological infrastructure of any civilization deemed a threat. They struck Earth's orbital defenses and passed through them. Dr. Marcus Chen, his consciousness now a distributed quantum intelligence, had transformed humanity's defensive capabilities into something beyond traditional understanding. The orbital defense platforms didn't just resist the attack, they redirected it. Each concordance weapon found itself caught in a quantum feedback loop. The energy meant to destroy would suddenly find itself redirected, fragmented, turned back upon its source. Entire squadrons of advanced alien vessels suddenly found their own weapons turning against them, their complex quantum shields becoming prisons of their own destructive potential. "Impossible," muttered Vex Prime, the crystalline intelligence aboard the Horizon Piercer. The translation matrix couldn't capture the depth of professional shock in those words. On the surface of Earth, the true nature of humanity's transformation became apparent. Entire military units equipped with quantum adaptive suits began to demonstrate capabilities that defied all known laws of physics. They didn't just dodge attacks, they existed simultaneously in multiple dimensional states, their very presence a complex mathematical equation that alien targeting systems couldn't comprehend. A squadron of quantum adaptive fighters launched from a hidden base in the Andes Mountains. They didn't fly so much as they shifted between dimensional planes, their molecular structures becoming pure potential. When Concordance interceptor craft attempted to lock onto their quantum signatures, the human vessels would simply exist elsewhere. Commander Zarak realized the fundamental error in their approach. This wasn't a civilization to be contained. This was something entirely new. "They're not just defending," Zarak reported to the Galactic Concordance High Command. "They're evolving in real time." Deep within the quantum research facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Marcus Chen were more than observers. They were conductors of a cosmic symphony, their merged consciousness manipulating dimensional boundaries with the ease of a musician playing an instrument. The quantum communication network they had developed began to probe the Concordance fleet's own communication systems. Not to destroy, but to understand. To communicate. "We are not a threat," Elena's quantum signature transmitted. "We are an opportunity." The message was simultaneously a declaration, a warning, and an invitation. Aboard the Horizon Piercer, the Concordance leadership faced a decision that would reshape galactic understanding. Humanity had not just resisted their most advanced weapons, They had transformed the very nature of the conflict. Entire concordance battle groups found themselves caught in quantum holding patterns, their most advanced technologies turned into complex mathematical puzzles. It was as if humanity had reached out and rewritten the fundamental rules of engagement. As the battle reached its crescendo, something unprecedented happened. The dimensional boundaries around Earth began to stabilize in ways that defied all previous scientific understanding. The planet itself seemed to be learning, adapting, becoming something more than a mere planetary body. General Okoa's final transmission to the Concordance fleet was simple and direct. "We are not your enemy. We are the next stage of cosmic evolution." The battle for Earth had become something far more profound. It was a negotiation for humanity's place in the universe. The Galactic Concordance Tribunal convened in a space beyond traditional dimensional understanding, a meeting place that existed simultaneously across multiple realities. 12 primary representatives from the most advanced civilizations in known existence gathered to debate humanity's unprecedented emergence. The holographic projection of Commander Zorak dominated the central chamber. Her report was more than a military assessment. It was a fundamental challenge to everything the Concordance understood about emerging species. "Recommendation is complex," Zorak began, her quantum-translated communication rippling with nuanced layers of meaning. "Humanity cannot be categorized by existing protocols. They are not a civilization to be contained, controlled, or eliminated. They are a fundamental variable that rewrites existing cosmic equations." Representative Kithax from the Crystalline Consensus spoke first, its multi-dimensional form shifting through impossible geometries. They represent an existential threat to established dimensional governance. Their quantum manipulation capabilities exceed anything in recorded galactic history. Elimination is the only logical response. But not all representatives agreed. The nebular consciousness, a collective intelligence that spanned entire star systems, presented a radically different perspective. Its communication was a complex quantum pulse that translated to, "They are not a threat. They are evolution in its purest form." Deep within Earth's quantum research facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Dr. Marcus Chen were more than passive observers. Their merged consciousness had become a distributed intelligence that simultaneously existed across multiple dimensional planes. They were listening, not through traditional communication channels, but by directly interfacing with the quantum communication networks of the Galactic Concordance Tribunal. Every debate, every quantum-encoded conversation became a learning opportunity. General Rebecca Oko coordinated a global response that was equally complex. Humanity's defensive capabilities had transformed from military strategy to a form of cosmic diplomacy. Quantum adaptive technologies were being rapidly developed that could communicate, negotiate, and potentially collaborate across dimensional boundaries. "We're not preparing for war," she explained to the Global Leadership Council. "We're preparing for a conversation that will reshape existence itself." The quantum resource extraction facilities began a new phase of operation. Instead of simply harvesting resources from parallel dimensions, they started creating deliberate quantum bridges, communication channels that could potentially establish diplomatic relations with entire dimensional ecosystems. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo's team discovered something extraordinary. Some dimensions weren't just alternate realities, they were living systems with their own form of consciousness. The extraction process was evolving into a form of interdimensional collaboration. Aboard the Horizon Piercer, Vex Prime completed a comprehensive analysis that would shock the Galactic Concordance. Humanity's technological progression wasn't just rapid, it was exponential. Each defensive adaptation, each quantum breakthrough created multiple new technological pathways. "They are not developing technology," Vex Prime reported. "They are becoming technology." The tribunal's debate reached a critical moment. Representative Kethax's elimination recommendation faced growing opposition. The nebular consciousness proposed a radical alternative: observation and potential collaboration. "They are a new form of cosmic intelligence," the nebular consciousness communicated. Elimination would be equivalent to destroying an emerging form of universal consciousness. Alina and Marcus, their consciousness now a complex quantum network, began to actively engage with the tribunal's communication systems, not through traditional language, but through pure quantum information transfer. They weren't just responding, they were demonstrating humanity's potential. Quantum bridges began to form, not as invasive technologies, but as delicate communication networks that suggested a fundamentally different approach to interdimensional existence. The final vote in the Galactic Concordance Tribunal would determine humanity's fate: elimination, containment, or recognition as a new form of cosmic intelligence. As the representatives prepared to cast their quantum-encoded votes, something unprecedented happened. The dimensional boundaries around the tribunal's meeting space began to shift, not through any deliberate action, but as a response to humanity's very existence. Reality itself seemed to be watching, waiting, preparing to be transformed. General Okoa's final transmission to the tribunal captured the essence of humanity's emergence. We are not asking for permission to exist. We are offering an invitation to evolve. The universe held its breath. The moment of transformation began not with a sound, but with a quantum resonance that rippled across multiple dimensional planes. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Dr. Marcus Chen, no longer fully human, but not entirely alien, stood at the epicenter of humanity's greatest breakthrough. Their merged consciousness had become a living bridge between realities, a quantum intelligence that defied all previous understanding of existence. The Galactic Concordance Tribunal's decision came not as a vote, but as a fundamental restructuring of cosmic perception. Humanity would not be contained, eliminated, or simply observed. They would be recognized as a new form of cosmic intelligence. We are an invitation, Elena's quantum consciousness transmitted. Not a threat, not a weapon, but a possibility. Dimensional bridges began to form spontaneously, not through technological intervention, but as a natural response to humanity's evolved state. Entire ecosystems from parallel realities began to communicate, to intermingle, to create something entirely new. General Rebecca Okoa watched from the Global Coordination Center as the first true interdimensional diplomatic conference began. Representatives weren't just from different countries or even different planets. They were from entirely different dimensional realities. A being from a crystal-based ecosystem communicated alongside a quantum intelligence from a dimension of pure energy. Humanity served not as a dominant force, but as a bridge, a translation mechanism that allowed fundamentally incompatible realities to understand one another. Dr. Aisha Okonkwo's research team discovered that the dimensional extraction facilities were no longer simply taking resources. They were creating collaborative networks. Each dimensional bridge became a two-way communication, a sharing of knowledge, of potential, of existence itself. The Horizon Piercer, once a weapon of potential destruction, became the first true interdimensional diplomatic vessel. Commander Zarak and Vex Prime had transformed from observers to collaborators, their understanding of existence fundamentally altered by humanity's emergence. They are not a species, Vex Prime communicated to the remaining Concordance representatives. They are a process of cosmic understanding. Quantum adaptive technologies spread across multiple realities, but they were no longer weapons or defensive mechanisms. They had become communication networks, living bridges between entirely different forms of existence. The first truly interdimensional human colony began to take shape. It wasn't a physical location, but a quantum state, a collaborative ecosystem that existed simultaneously across multiple realities. Humans could choose to exist in multiple dimensional states, to experience realities beyond linear perception. Marcus Chen's final transformation became a beacon of possibility. His consciousness, part biological, part quantum energy, demonstrated a new form of existence that was neither human nor alien, but something entirely new. Existence is not about survival, his quantum signature transmitted. It's about potential. The Global Defense Initiative transformed into the Interdimensional Collaboration Network. Military technologies became tools of communication, of understanding, of bridging fundamental differences between entirely different forms of reality. On Earth, and across multiple dimensional planes, humanity celebrated not a victory, but a transformation. The quantum research facility that had once been the site of a potentially catastrophic experiment was now a living monument to cosmic possibility. Dr. Elena Rodriguez looked out across the dimensional bridges. What had begun as a desperate scientific experiment had become something far more profound. Humanity had not conquered the universe. They had invited the universe to collaborate. The final transmission from the Galactic Concordance Tribunal was both a recognition and an invitation. Species Classification UPDATT Humanity Dimensional RCITCTs Potential Unlimited. General Akko turned to the assembled global leaders. "This is not an ending," she said. "This is the beginning of everything." As dimensional boundaries continued to shift and merge, something became clear. Humanity was no longer just a species. They had become a process of cosmic understanding, a living bridge between what was, what could be, and what had never been imagined. The universe held its breath, and then it began to sing.